How's it going, everybody? Mr. Lee Chalker and I are here hanging out together tonight. So we're gonna talk some shenanigans, see what's going on. I don't think we're gonna have anybody else with us tonight. There's a lot going on in people's lives, so you guys get us this evening.
Indeed.
We'll see how well we manage all by our lonesomes. I am. Before we get too far into this, I want to say thank you to everyone that backed the listener for and came out and supported the product, supported the teams. Thank you so very much for that. Um, the book will be out fairly early. I'm really excited about that. What's going on? I'm very excited that the book will be out fairly early, so you guys should get that much earlier than normal. Probably 6 weeks, 7 weeks, something like that. You guys will have that in hand. I had a lot of fun with it, Lee. That book I had a lot of fun with. It's definitely a different type of book than our newer fans are seeing. A lot of folks came into Ethereal with BGD or Greed, and it's a very different type of book from them. So I'm very grateful to the fan base. Absolutely grateful to the fan base. Super stoked about it. Can't wait till we get into the next one later on. So that being said, thanks again, guys, for making it a successful campaign. We're 9 in a row now, on Kickstarter. So really, really cool. What do you got going on right now, Lee? What's going on in your creative haven that you have back there in the granny flat? What's going on?
Oh, mate, it's been busy, always busy. In between, many things. It's like I can't sort of choose every day which thing to do. I have a constant argument with myself about what I should be drawing or what I should be writing, that sort of thing. But
I got you.
Yeah, just been banging out some new Battle for Bustle stuff. Just got back into that. Had a little bit of time off from that to refresh, but it's certainly been lovely to get back into the city and back from holidays, back into my town. Been doing a fair bit of inking of some, I would say, some great mates of mine, Ryan Veller and Ben Sullivan's artwork, and certainly enjoying that and learning.
There you go.
Reading lots of Australian comics of late to catch up on things, just to see what my mates and new artists and creators are doing, and
yes, sir.
Enjoying that, mate. I've read some crackers actually, so some very enjoyable stuff, and was sent a wonderful original drawing by an Australian creator called Ed Kearsley, who does a comic called Radical over here in Australia, which I had the pleasure of reading that the other day, and that was an excellent comic book. I enjoyed that immensely. Good action, good art, writing's good, some funny stuff in it, where you find yourself like really having a good old chuckle at it. So double thumbs up to Ed. And here is
I love it.
A lovely little gift in the package, an original piece there of a character that Rob Lyle and myself and Ryan Veller are doing, and that's Rosie from Ring Around the Rosie, Ed Kearsley style. So I was pretty chuffed by getting that.
Yeah, man, I imagine that thing's super cool.
Yeah. No, it's cool. So I don't know, mate. Like everything's going all right at the moment. It's a nice. It's a nice day, like early morning start. So I'm here with you again, as we are every Friday and Saturday, ready for happy yarns.
Yes, sir. Well, John asked us, what is your favorite issue so far, the listener, and why? I'm going to be real honest with you when I say that it's hard for me to pick a favorite for that book. But I think that the second issue was very emotionally powerful, and it took a lot out of me to put that book together, that particular issue, because for those of you guys that keep up with that particular series, you lose some main characters in that particular issue, and the way that one of them goes is really tough on the heartstrings. And I had a fan reach out to me, and he was like, I read it two different ways, and I tried to read it objectively the second way, and my wife did too, and we cried both times. And I was like, how epic is it that you can put together characters in that amount in two issues and have people vested in your product and in your characters and their lives. And I think that was it. I think issue two was definitely my that point, because after issue two we put out Greed, and it led right into Greed, and Greed's been a lot of fun too. So I think it was issue two, man. I think issue two has been definitely been my favorite. Action packed, super story driven issue. There's a scene in it that actually occurred in real life, and to my great uncle Les. And I think that also was a pretty big deal for me to be able to place the events, the true events that happened in certain time periods in these books, along with the things that we're creating. So, yeah, I think it was issue two, man. I think that was definitely the one that got it all started. Yeah, and then I don't know. BGD is the same way though. You know what I mean? I think issue two of BGD is my favorite too, though. So out of the couple that we have out so far, I think the additional pages for that with the Stitches storyline are really, really solid. And as a creator, I think the more we do, just like any other career, just like any other job, just like any other thing that you study and you work on, you get better the more you do, and as a writer, I'm constantly working and honing my craft to better the product that we give you guys, so um and I think that, what's going on, Brian? I'm on Brian's show tomorrow, guys. It's gonna be mad fun. Brian's a good dude. He's got a great show, Reels and Heels, good stuff hanging out with him. I know Tom Hutchinson will be on there with me, so we'll be shooting this shit with those guys tomorrow. If you got a link, Brian, drop it in here and I'll post the link for you. But as we go further into our books and our stories, we just hope to continue to improve. So it's hard to be like, the book that I did a year ago is one of my favorites. But as we go forward, you look at other things. You know what I mean? You look at the art, and you look at the colors, and you look at the covers you're putting out, and you look at the fans and stuff. So yeah, I'm with you. Leigh,
I
you
think
got
it's all about momentum, though, isn't it, mate? Like once you start, you're not really sure. You don't have any comparisons, do you? So it's, it's yourself and what you've read before and what you're feeling. And, as you get further along, you get better. So, John Running, Leigh, do you have a favorite project you have worked on? Yeah, Battle for Bustle, straight up. That's my baby, John. So I can't say yay or nay to that, but I have had the pleasure of, I started comic books with Battle for Bustle straight in, and in the last 12 months, I've had the pleasure of working with other artists and creators and stuff like that. So Battle for Bustle is number one, and there's a little project that I mentioned before called Ring Around the Rosie. That is another very enjoyable little mashup, so, of artists and creators. So yeah, man, that's they're my two. For sure.
on, James. Man, I want If It Hops too, man. Get out of here. I want that shit like right now.
Well, that's just about ready to rock and roll, isn't it? If It Hops, mate. A couple of weeks away.
Yeah, the 29th, that book will be live for pre-order on Kickstarter. Around that time period, we'll be adding the listener issue 4 to our website. You guys will be able to pre-order that on there. But man, oh man, that cover that we just popped off for If It Hops. Whew.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, it was a good one. Let me see if I can load it up here so people can see it.
Now, you were saying that was that person's first cover, yeah? That
with
they've
us.
done with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
That's a good one.
Talented. Yeah, man. I was absolutely floored by that one. I think that the fans are going to be floored with all the artwork. we still have like 2 or 3 covers we haven't shown for that book yet. I know that we've got Devin's covers coming out, and we've also got Blade and Hunter's covers coming. So it's going to be super, super solid. Let me grab.
Coming out all guns blazing on that one, mate.
Well, I mean, I feel like we have to. That particular book, the fans are so vested already, which is incredible. I mean, so vested, and we're the whole team is grateful. Check that out, man. That's just, whew, it came out. That one's a banger for sure. You definitely should read Battle for Bustle John. It's an amazing book, absolutely amazing book. But yeah, so we got If It Hops popping later on this month, and we're really excited about it because we just keep expanding. You know, we keep bringing on more talent and different folks and stuff. Yeah, right, James. I can't wait to see it colored. I'm excited about it. There's a wild version of that cover too.
Who's doing the colors for that, mate?
Gwen's on that one.
Yeah,
she's on that one, so it'll be really, really good. I'm over the moon about how good it looks. I know that we've got a lot that we're putting out, and we're trying to show people almost like baby steps with the products we've got coming out right this second. Because with If It Hops dropping at the end of the month, that's actually got a teaser for Theater 7. Theater 7 is going to be great fun. I think it fits right in there with If It Hops, and you guys will enjoy that. Devin Massey's actually doing all the interiors for that one. Oh man, yes, man. I've been working with her since 2019, and Gwen and I are thick as thieves. So I try to put her on all kinds of cool stuff all the time. And you guys, if you follow Ethereal, you'll definitely get your hands full of Gwen's stuff on there. Not Gwen, but Gwen's stuff on there. You know what I mean? And but there's a lot of cool stuff, with If It Hops, with Theater 7. Theater 7 storyline's a lot of fun. We talked about it a little bit last night on the Viking show. That was really, really cool. Theater 7 is about a chick that is in college in the 90s, and she decides she needs a job. It's very lewd humor, which is different for me. I normally don't do humor at all. So it is a comedy with Devin being, Devin Massey doing Cave Woman. It's very in that line of lewd humor. So we're running with that, and I think people will really enjoy it. But she goes to find a job. Finds out the local theater is hiring this new theater they're putting back together. I appreciate that, man. I'm trying. I definitely am trying. But so she goes to get this job. What she doesn't know is the theater's haunted, and she starts finding tickets to films while she's in there. And when she finds a ticket, it pulls her into the film. So I'm really stoked about it. I think people are going to enjoy it. The early reviews are great, so I'm really excited. I think if you guys enjoy Devin, or you enjoy any of the artwork that Ethereal puts out, or you enjoy my books in general, you're going to have a great time with it. I mean,
well, he had some nice things to say about your writing the other day in a one of those, the things on Facebook you come past. I had a little squiz, like for anyone out there doesn't know what a squiz is, that's a little look, a little peek at some of the comments, and
yeah,
check them out. There's some very nice comments.
I've definitely made a squiz when I saw it. I was very you have to. So a little backstory with Devin Massey and Cave Woman is I'm a fan. I've been a fan for many, many years now. And when he offered to do, we brought him on for BGD to do a cover, and he enjoyed my writing so much that he wanted to do a project with me. And that's not something that he normally does. He works on Cave Woman, and that's generally what he works on. So when he comes out and he's like, hey, I want to do a project with you, you have to understand that whole like deer in the headlights thing hits me, because I'm just like, this is this dude that I've been collecting his books for 20 years. What's going on, Shawnee? That wants to work with us. So I asked him about, what kind of books he would like to do and whatever else. And, one thing led to another, and we started working on Theater 7. But yeah, he came out and he put a review up, like an impromptu review of my writings, and I was just blown away, because even if you guys don't know Cave Woman, Devin is a monster in the industry, in the indie scene because of that series and his amazing artwork. And it was just like, I was blown away. I didn't even know what to think. Super excited and very, very grateful that he had opinions like that.
I would take that as a huge compliment, mate. To be
Oh,
honest with you.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
but it's funny. It's funny when you're in this gig, and you're making comics and stuff, and you do get the opportunity to interact with people that you've admired for a long time,
Right.
and you realize that they're human, just like you are, and it's great. So,
Man, I appreciate that, Brian. Thank you so very much. It means a lot, man, because at the end of the day, I think we as creators, whether it's writers or artists or colorists or letterers, anybody in this industry, I think we are the hardest people on ourselves. I really do. I think it's us that is our worst critics. So when people come out and they talk to you about what you're creating, and these are guys that we look at and we're fans of. So when they come out and they're like, hey, look, this is really really good, it blows you away. You're the fan again. You know what I mean? You're on the other side of the table again, with your book, going to get it signed by the guy that worked on your book that you're a huge fan of. And it's a wild experience because it's very it's humbling, man. It's such an experience because you've created something, and now these people that you've been a fan of are fans of what you've created, and it's mind blowing. You know what I mean? It's a boggling situation. But going back into things before we get too far down this rabbit hole, with If It Hops coming out later this month, I want to go ahead and open the floor to this book. If anybody's got questions. Oh yeah, hell yeah. Oh, I'm really glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, BGD3 is only like, I don't know, what, 3 months away? You guys are getting that book in like 3 months because you've got maybe a little bit longer, not much, but you've got the schedule for us right now is If It Hops at the end of the month, Greed next month, Theater 7 the month after, and then BGD. So you should have BGD around August. And here's something for you guys if you haven't heard it. We're dropping 2 books a month starting in August. So, I mean, a month, like 6 weeks, 2 books. So, yeah, you'll definitely be getting BGD. I would go so far as to say you may get BGD 4 this year. You know what I mean? So, I hope that's my game plan anyway. So
cracking that whip, mate. Cracking that whip.
I keep all these guys in my basement. All the girls, they have to hang out in the attic, but the guys hang out in the basement. I can't let them stay together because there'd be all kinds of shenanigans. You know what I mean? So I have to separate them. But yeah, no. That's
Give them an hour's sun every day just so they've got their vitamin C and stuff, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. I walk them. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. You got it. You got them litter trained.
I take them back up in there. You know what I mean? It's all good. But If It Hops, for those of you guys, like James was just talking about, for those of you guys that have read, thank you, Shawnee. For those of you guys that have read BGD, If It Hops is in that line of dark, gory, wild storytelling, in my opinion. But at the same time, it's very bright because of the colors. You know what I mean? Yeah, dude, look here. Those little what are they, the shoe shop, the shoe warehouses in China and shit, they don't have nothing on me, dude. I keep everybody at work. But that's why when you guys call me or you message me, my ass is at my computer working my ass off too. Yeah, haha, I will have a pilot within the next year and a half for that, and that's not a joke whatsoever. I appreciate that very much, but I will have a pilot. We've already started working on an intro. I've hired a band to do an intro song, a ditty, if you will. But yeah, lots going on. And I appreciate you guys enjoying it. But you guys are also going to get the short story started, or the arc for BGD this year, which is Stitches. You'll be getting at least one issue of Stitches this year. You'll also be getting, for the folks that enjoy BGD a lot, you'll be getting these Neon Streets. And let's talk about that for a minute, Leigh. Let's talk about these Neon Streets, because I'm getting art for it back and forth right now. So these Neon Streets is an anthology in the world of BGD.
Now, who you got working on that, mate? Who you got working on that?
Oh gosh, let's get into that, right?
Yeah, throw them out there.
So you got Chuck Panoz working on that.
Yep. We've met Chuck. Chuck's been on the show. Yep.
Yes, great dude. You got George Medina's on that. He's also been on the show. Another great dude. He's got Wonder Duck coming out here shortly. Great book as well.
And he's coming up in season 2, isn't he, on the show?
Yep. So then you've got oh my gosh, April Reyna, who, if you guys follow Ethereal, she's been on our team for quite some time. She's on that book. Bladen Hunter's on that book. Oh my gosh. JT Malloy is on that book, who's also been on the show. Great dude.
Yep.
Plenty of folks. I think we ended up, it's like 8 people that are working on that book. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's in the world of BGD, but it has zero to do with the main cast of BGD. So
you spread it. You're opening up the world, are you, mate?
Absolutely.
You're just giving a few different angles for people to have a look at and get right into that whole world.
And I think that's really cool. You should tell her that, James. She'd absolutely love to hear it. I appreciate that. It's very interesting to me, because I wanted you guys to see that it is as a breathing world. You know what I mean? Because we show all these characters in this series, and we make it so much larger than life that I absolutely, for sure, that I wanted to make it feel like that, not just seem, but feel. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, man, that's the goal. So when we do this, it's like, I'll give you a perfect example. So the bouncer in BGD 1, right? He gets popped in the head at the very beginning of the book, taken out at the very beginning. Now, when you read that book, he's like nobody, right? He's nobody. He's the bouncer. He got taken out. He had a couple lines in the beginning of the book, right? So there's a story in the anthology about him as a youth and how he gets the job as a bouncer at Piece of Tail, you know? And then we go into things like, there's a love story in it. We haven't done one of those yet. So one of those is in there. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's actually pinned and written by JT Malloy. So you guys should enjoy that a lot. I co-wrote that with him. But you guys will enjoy it. I've been showing a little bit off. Actually, I think I can, I think we agreed that we could show you guys some of the stuff from that. So I'll show you a couple panels real quick. A lot of fun. JT is, if you haven't seen Sapphire Spectre, you guys should get on it. It's live right now. It's a great series. But this is a couple panels from that story that JT is penning right now for these Neon Streets. As you can see, the colors are very reminiscent to BGD, though. You know, they're that bright, pretty coloration. You know what I mean? So you've also got this dude peeping in the window here on this chick. That's a very relevant thing going on in this particular story. Yeah. We're writing romance. Get out of here. It's going to be awesome. I appreciate that, James. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're not doing a shit ton of covers for it or anything like that, because it's its own standalone thing. If it does,
how many pages is it going to come in at?
I think we're hitting like 92 pages on that book.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fairly large. It is going to be a little bit more expensive than our regular books, but it'll be worth your time. So speaking of another story in that anthology, Chuck wrote one with me, and I gave him a brisk outline. That's what I did for everybody for this. I gave them brisk outlines of stories, beginning, middle, and end, and I let them go ham with it, right? So they could write all they want. One thing that's very important about this book is I want to, and we've already started doing it, and we've talked about it a couple times. but I'm bringing more writers into Ethereal Comics. So they'll have their own books. You guys are going to get more stories from more folks. Hey, look, I'm learning. Lee's teaching me the lingo, okay? But yeah,
Rubbing off Rusty, the more time he spends with
right?
me.
Rubbing off. At least you're not rubbing on. You know what I mean? I'm all right. So, um, but the goal is to bring on another wave of writers. So you guys, instead of me putting out my books so heavily, you guys will get other writers and stuff. Like I said, starting in August, there'll be 2 books a month. So you're going to start seeing stuff from other writers and different stories. But Chuck's book, or Chuck's short story in These Neon Streets, is actually being all the art's being done by April Reyna. So the combo of the two of them should be fantastic. One really neat thing that I'll say about the different art styles, I wanted to keep that going with this anthology. I wanted everybody to have a different type of story. Um, oh yeah, yeah. I really want to continue to grow, and that's something that all of our team has in common. We all want to continue to grow together and bring out the best products we can. So you guys actually got BGD2 early. BGD2 wasn't supposed to come out until June, but I needed more time for These Neon Streets. It was actually supposed to drop in January, but we needed more time to level it out and get it finished up and cleaned up to make it perfect when it comes out, because it's our first anthology. So I really wanted to make sure that you guys got the best product we could possibly bring to the table.
I love an anthology, mate. A great anthology. So I don't know if you guys get it over there. I assume you would, somewhere tucked away in those comic shops. But when I was young, a prevalent anthology was an English production called 2000 AD. And that was available every week. And mate, you would know some of the creators over in America that have come out of that: Alan Moore, Neil Gaiman, Simon Bisley. Oh man, the list goes on. It's unbelievable, but great anthology. So anthologies can be good, and I particularly like the fact that you want to open up that world, man, because there's plenty of scope to it as well. And
right.
being a fellow world builder, like I can totally see how there's entrances and like little stage doors, like off to the right and the left that you can expand upon to I guess
sure.
give that the story more fertility, and involve the reader more. It certainly does, James.
I think that when one of the biggest things about BGD that I think we're just starting to touch like the tip of the iceberg with it is the fact that there are whole other things that exist in this world. AIs exist in this world. You've got the tank bred characters. You've got a character, in Corvos that's this massive, almost Kingpin-esque character, but he has his own story going on at the same time that Ricky and Maya and Eve's stories are going on. So very shortly, you'll start seeing. Speaking of him, he's got a story in These Neon Streets. His creation, actually, because he was a tank bred. So this character, you're going to get to see how he was created, why he feels the way he feels about things, all kinds of other cool stuff. And that's actually put in there by Ed Garcia. Ed Garcia is doing the interiors for Greed starting next month. So you guys will get to see a lot of new stuff from him. I've been posting some stuff up. But I'm telling you, it's gonna blow everything away when this book drops. And I can't wait. I can't wait for to start showing you guys the inner workings of these stories that I have to try so hard to chain myself up and not tell you about. Oh man, you know how hard it was not to talk about fucking Stitches? You know how hard that shit was? I was so ready to talk about Stitches every day. Like I was ready to talk about it like every 5 minutes because I knew that people would enjoy it.
I just enjoy your enthusiasm, mate. We talk all the time, and you're like one of the most enthusiastic people I've ever met. It's like
I'm like that puppy, bro. I'm like that puppy. You got the new puppy smell. but you got the puppy that gets so excited he pees. You know what I mean? That's me. I get so excited. I should probably be like have a catheter in. I get so excited.
You can get pads for that, mate.
Yeah,
That'll
I
help,
should.
that'll keep the house clean and stuff.
Right? It'd help me with keeping my pants better. I've got, have to replace my pants every time I get a new piece of artwork. Oh yeah, for sure. But there's, as when we came up with If It Hops, and I think that's a very integral thing to talk about right now because it literally drops in like 2 weeks. So a little longer than 2 weeks. No, today's the 15th here, so 2 weeks. I appreciate that, James. Thank you. And Shawnee, thank you so very much. But this particular book, as we put it together, Bladen is always like, this is like Seven. This has the vibe of this terrifying character, and you never know what's going to happen in this story. And I was like, yeah, well, I've said it since the beginning with issue 1 of the listener. You never know who's going to make it to the next issue. And I don't bring folks back because that's horseshit. So if they're gone, they're pretty well gone. Like I said last night, though, I am not allowed to kill off Maya, or half the team is threatened to walk out. So she has to stay alive. But she's a team favorite, I guess, so she's going to be around a lot. But with If It Hops, I wanted to put out something we hadn't done, and a cop drama thriller was a very high on my list of things to do. So when we started putting it together, we were like, well, who's the bad guy? What are we bringing to the table with this that's interesting? That's different than what other people do. First off, I don't know that there are a lot of so the listeners like that, right? The listeners like that. So I can't really get into the whole jargon with it, but yeah, team save. That's what happened. Because I was going to kill her off. I was going to kill her off in like issue 5, and they like shit a brick. Like there will be none of that. I was like, all right. So we won't kill her off. We'll keep her around. She's a great character. Speaking of her, you guys in issue 3 of BGD, it's a lot of Maya. As much as you guys got Ricky in issue 2, you're going to get Maya in issue 3. And I'm having fun doing the side stories with these characters to also build the rapport that you guys have with them. But so when we came up with Agent C, it was like trying to make sure she wasn't Harley Quinn, right? First off, I didn't want Harley Quinn. You know what I mean? She's fun and she's giddy and she does her stuff, but I didn't want that. I didn't want comparisons made. And then her original design, she had was a Harlequin rabbit. That was one of the things that I was trying desperately to. I didn't want to have to fight that fight. You know what I mean? So when we decided to redo her design and change her body all white versus the patches of color, and leave the white or the one black like eye area, and the black ear. When we looked at her, she looked like fucking Domino. You know what I mean? Like she looked just like Domino. So I was like, oh well, we got to get rid of the patch around the eye, so we'll just leave the black ear. We left the black ear, and that's what stuck. I'm thrilled to talk to you guys about how scary the book is. I really am, because it's different. It's different. It's different than anything I've ever done. And I can give you guys scary. We know this. I've cemented my ability to do that, but I wanted to give it to you in a different way in this book. And man, oh man, there's something about killing Mickey Mouse that we've all wanted to do at least once, right? We've all wanted to get rid of him once, whether you were doing something and you heard him fucking laugh around the corner or some shit. He was on TV. You've all wanted to get rid of him once, and I think that's Bladen's motivation for this particular issue.
I don't know if I've ever had that thought. I just used to turn the TV off. I wouldn't even get to the CKEY part. I'd just say, "Am I click?" It's like,
I have 2 kids, man. So I have had to hear that fucker go on and on and on. So you're gonna get to see some wild stuff with the mouse character that we have in the book. I definitely, Shawnee. I really didn't want her to look like anybody else or be relative to anybody else. That being said, someone brought up the fact that I've shown several panels of her being nude in the book. She is nude the very first page, the entire first page. She's nude, and then we move into page 2 and 3. She's in the apartment. She's getting dressed, ready to go. There is a lot of nudity in the book. There is a lot of violence in the book. It's par for the course with me, if you ask me. I mean, you can ask other team members, but if you ask me, it's par for the course. You know what I mean? It's my type of storytelling. And but what we're doing is we it's almost I like the seductiveness of the covers and the pages, because it's like luring you guys in with these beautiful, beautiful pages and these beautiful colors and covers, and then you get this really dark, really grimy, walked right out of like a serial killer type of storyline. And I think people are going to dig it, man. I really do. I think the genocidal tendencies that we're bringing up in this book are terrifying. I mean, because there are groups of people in the real world that act on these type of tendencies, and I think that's what's scary, right? If you can put away the fact that it's a bunny chick and it's a anthropomorphic world, and be in the moment with these characters, you're going to find yourselves really enjoying the story and really rooting for your heroine as she goes to the things she does. And not to mention, you guys get to meet Agent K in the next issue, in issue 2. She's a great character, big old lion chick, super swole, super cool lion chick. She's actually dating Agent C's brother, so you'll get to see the two of them together. Big old bunny, little teeny bunny dude, and big old lion.
Family dynamics going on in that
Right?
comic book too, mate. Hey,
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah. So Shawnee, that was the goal, right? Because we did the same thing with Greed. When we brought Greed out, everybody was like, "It's a kid's book. It's a kid's book. It's a kid's book." I kept telling people it wasn't. You know what I mean? I was like, "It's not a kid's book. I don't even let my kids read that book." You know what I mean? So I like the false sense of security, because I'm always one for big moments. Like, I love big moments. So like when you go from this beautiful like character in her apartment and getting dressed and walking through this beautiful city to get to work and all this other jazz, and then all of a sudden you're walking with two yeah, right. So then you're walking with two uniformed officers into this building because they're looking for this criminal that's escaped this asylum, and they get wrecked. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's probably one of the most one-sided events I've ever written. So you guys will have fun with it. You'll get to see some different things. I know that Bladen is really playing with the lighting for this particular issue, because, like I said, you're going from these beautiful, beautiful streets and stuff to this dark, dank, abandoned building that has no power. What's scarier than being in a dark, dank building with no power and no light? Well, being in there with a serial killer. I mean, that's pretty terrifying, in my opinion, anyway. So we're running with that. And I think you guys will really enjoy it. And then, like I said, the preview for Theater 7 is coming out, and that's going to be a lot of fun. As dark and grimy as If It Hops really is, Theater 7 is bright and fun and has like real laughter. Wait till you find out what movie she gets sucked into first, and the covers will start giving that away. Yeah, the dark and dank building was fun. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed writing that entire scene because I was having a real rough day when we started putting that together, and I was like, I'm taking it out on this guy. This guy's getting every bit of it. So, yeah.
that's the beautiful thing about writing, though, man. Hey, how cathartic it is and stuff,
Right?
And,
Oh,
just because you're in a science fiction anthropomorphic, like another world, doesn't mean you can't put what's bothering you or the measures of our real world into that to bring people to some attention.
we were jamming out to Cannibal Corpse and hurting people in such good ways in that book. We write that one. Um, but I do think that you guys, if you enjoyed the Stitches preview that just came out with BGD issue 2, you'll really enjoy what's going on in If It Hops. And Stitches is quite a wild short story or mini series that's coming out for BGD. Like I said, if you picked up BGD 2, you get some pages of it, but that's a mini series that's taken from the perspective of your antagonist. So you'll see the characters and stuff that you're used to seeing, but it'll be with the antagonist. Most of that's Leigh's stuff back there. You joke, all that crazy shit back there. Most of it's his.
Yeah, that's all mine, except the stuff on in the frames. That's all friends and people. Dave Dye, who was on the show a couple of weeks ago, just artwork
Right?
over time. I just put it up there. Yeah, but no, all of that stuff in the back is all. Every time I scan and get ready to do my next comic book, I always put the pages of the previous comic book up on the wall because my drawing desk is right there. So the whole granny flat, every wall is littered with my artwork just so I can reference back to Battle for Bustle and stuff like that.
You have to explain to them what a granny flat is.
Okay, well, a granny flat in Australia is basically we have the house at the front of the property, and a granny flat is like an offshoot, I guess, you can live in domicile, like
It's like a mother-in-law suite almost type of thing.
Yeah, I guess a space.
In-law suite, yeah.
Yeah, so I turned the granny flat into my studio, and yeah, it's pretty manic in here. One of these days, when I've tidied it up a little bit, and maybe in season 2, I'll, if anyone's interested, I'll walk you around, and show you all the walls and all the artwork. But yeah, no, it's I just initially found it easy for referencing. Instead of going through pages and that, I just decided to stick them up on the wall, and then suddenly it's just became a patchwork, and and it's got a strange feel to it, but no, it's good. It's good.
Awesome.
Nice energy when you walk in here, mate. Ready to rock and roll.
Do you ever go out there and work when it's like pouring rain or anything, like thunder and lightning, and just get to it? Man, that would be so cool. Like that is.
Man, I've been out here at all different times of the day. 2:00 in the morning by myself, 7:00 in the morning. Just whenever the motivation kicks, it's just. And Tam is. She's got her floristry studio and stuff. We bounce off, and it's our little space. But the home is, the home's the home. That's when pens down, tools down, and you go in and you live your normal life and stuff like that. But
for sure.
Yeah, I've been very lucky to have this space, and I've got a giant comic book collection over in that corner there, all tucked away. So maybe one day I'll pull a couple of them out for you and show you some little treats in there.
Dude, that's going to be awesome. So, getting back to If It Hops, I think that you guys are in for a pleasant surprise. I think that there's a lot going on that you're not expecting, and character designs. Holy shit! So, Joe, for those of you that have read BGD, Joe is an incredible character designer. Or Blade and Hunter. He goes in and he does these amazing things, and there's a rhino in If It Hops. And for those of you that got the preview, you got to see him for a second. But he's not the only rhino. You know what I mean? There's plenty of rhinos walking around. But it was just the coolest concept because the way that we treat our characters, they are proportionately sized to what they are. You know what I mean? So, the rabbit might come up to, the mid-level range on a panda or, something like that. But a giraffe, she's only coming up to his stomach area, versus how tall the giraffe actually is, and we had a lot of fun with that, just like we did with BGD. And because we have a huge Brachiosaurus stripper in Piece of Tail, so she hangs out. But yeah, she was the first character. Side note, a little bit of intel. Right on, man. That's awesome. I can't see who you are right this second, but Facebook user, super cool. Yeah, man, just holler at me whenever you get free time and stuff, and we can talk. We're always looking to bolster, the folks that we work with and stuff. But back to that side note, she was like, we looked at her from behind one time. She does hang out, doesn't she, Shawnee? So, so we saw her one time from behind, and Joe was like, "That doesn't look right." And I was like, "What do you mean it doesn't look right?" And he was like, "Dude, look at her standing from behind. We got to fix that." So we decided to add feathers as adornments, like earrings or headpieces or like hair pieces, because they don't have hair. You know what I mean? So it was interesting ways for us to integrate what people, are told lately in the past few years, that they do certain animals did have feathers. So it's nice to be able to be like, hey, look, here's a character with feathers, here's a character without feathers, but doing it with earrings and adornments to clothing and stuff was a cool way for us to integrate that and save our poor Brachiosaurus chick from looking like Uncle Fester from the backside. So really had to, we really took a long, hard look at that because she's such a fun character and she's big and robust and just this super fun to put together. But it was like she just you can't look at her from behind the same way. You know what I mean? Once you've seen it once. So we went back and we added the feathered adornments and stuff to make her, more receivable to the eye when you're paying attention to this character. And we've done stuff like that with If It Hops. There are certain characters. Yeah, no, you don't. Nobody wants Uncle Fester naked at the strip club. It's just not great. You know what I mean? You don't. Well, I mean, maybe. I mean, I guess it depends on what you're into.
Dustin, there'd be somebody out there that
Right?
would,
Yeah,
for sure, Shawnee. There's someone out there.
he's got like a fucking light bulb in his mouth, and he's
oh, you know it to be true. It's
turns around and he's got one between his butt cheeks that's lit up and stuff. It's just not great. Avoid Uncle Fester in the strip club at all costs. But we are putting together these amazing stories. And I think that the more and more fans that we get and the more people are involved, friends and stuff, we're getting to show you guys more and more. That is my secret. I have got a thing for the light bulb lit up. I didn't want to tell anybody. But as we put these books together,
don't watch a documentary on Tesla, mate.
Oh my gosh. I get so excited when I watch it. I'm just like
gripping the couch.
Right, yeah. There's like fingerprints where my hands are at and stuff when someone else comes to visit. I have to change the furniture every time I watch Nicholas Tesla. I always have to change it. But anyway, so we're also working on another book right now that you guys will see. And Steph Wilson's been joking about it a lot. It's actually called Fallen Leaves. Steph has been trying to get me to call it EILF. I refuse to call it EILF. We're not going to call a book Elves I'd Like to Fuck. Sorry. But it's funny. And he's got some cool artwork that he's done with it recently. So you guys should check that out. I think he sold them all, but they were really, really cool looking. Fallen Leaves will drop later on this year, probably October-ish. And there's a great team from that. There's a whole Zenoscope team working on that particular book. So you guys will get to see that. It's about an elf chick that's asleep in her village, and all of a sudden things are aflame. So I think people will really, really dig with that. Her and her brother are trying to escape. Some stuff happens, and it's a story of revenge. About a young elf chick that grows and stuff, and she starts chasing this thing that did her wrong. So going to be a lot of fun. It is super mature, though. Super mature, guys. More mature than anything I've put out yet. So if you're into that kind of thing, make sure you pay attention for Fallen Leaves later this year. That's going to be a lot of fun. He does think he's funny. Every now and then he catches a good one. Every now and then. But also, speaking of If It Hops, don't forget that the Steph Wilson is doing the Year of the Blue Flame cover, guys. That is limited to 75. It's gonna be a good one for those of you guys that saw Blade and Hunters Year of the Blue Flame cover, which was this one. I don't look at me. Oh, I have it. All right. So there's Bladen's Year of the Blue Flame cover, was limited to 75. The next one coming up with If It Hops is Steph Wilson's Year of the Blue Flame cover. And then the next one after that'll be Greg Bow with Greed's Year of the Blue Flame cover. So mad fun, guys. You guys have got a lot to see coming from us. Lots of cool stuff. Lee's got a bunch of cool shit he's working on. You guys can get the digital books, I'm pretty sure, off your website, right? Can't you get the Battle for Bustle digitals? Yeah, Shawnee bought them. So yeah, they're definitely on there. You guys can get the battleforbustle.com. You can grab Lee's digitals. If you go to www.ethereal-comics.com, you can get all of our digitals as well. For anybody that's overseas that watches this, I know that Australia and whatnot, and the US and different time zones, different places, yada, yada, we're always trying to save people on shipping. So if you want to check that out, super, super cool. We're excited about it. But if there's anything you guys want to see, 4 books a month. I would love to do that, dude. 4 books a month. I would love to put out 4 books a month. I'll say this. If you look at a law averages from what we've put out this past year, we may be able to make that happen in the next 2 years, but
you'll have to clone yourself, mate.
Yeah, upgrade the sweatshops. You know what I mean? I need to do that. And, and then I see what you did there. I totally caught that. You know what I need to do? I just need to quit taking them outside. They can be albinos. They don't need to, they can, they'll just get all pale.
No, give them that hour of sun. It'll save you on the vitamin D and vitamin C tablets that you'll have to give them. Well. Then you'll have to sneak in the multivitamins and,
That's too much work, man. I could just, let them pass and then just get some new artists and put them up. No. We love everybody on our teams. They're great people. They work their asses off. Built-in toilets into the chairs, though. We could do that. That's a thing. I could, I bet they used to do that on ships when they were rowing. I could totally do that. I'm gonna call Gwen here in a few minutes and let her know that's what we need to do. No, I love everybody on our teams. I could never do that. I'd have to at least get them a bidet. That'd be the only fair thing to do at each one of them. You know what I mean? It just give them a little spritz of energy every now and then. You know what I mean? Get excited, and you're just like, oh shit, literally. But yeah, no, we're super excited. Everybody's been busting their asses. There's a lot of really cool stuff coming. I can't wait, man. I'm just as excited as you guys are. I promise. And I know that there's some really cool stuff coming down the pipe. That's so weird, right? It does that with so many people. Like, it's the strangest thing. Odd stuff. Monster energy drinks with, you know what? It's terrible. I would not do that. Contrary to popular belief and what Lee's telling you, I don't do those things. So, but anyway, 29th. It's going to be mad fun. Coming up here next weekend, we'll be in Florida. April, Jen and I, Mike DeBalfro, Marissa Pope, Tom Hutchinson will all be at Suncoast Comic Con. That's going to be a blast. I think that you guys will really enjoy that show if you get the opportunity to swing by and see that one. It's great folks. Greg Horn's going to be there. Lots of really, really, really cool people. And then not long after that, we've got another show in Kentucky. We're also at Free Comic Book Day, which is going to be huge this year, I think. Free Comic Book Day will be in Chattanooga, Tennessee at Epicos. One cool thing about that website I mentioned earlier, guys, if you go to the website, www.ethereal-comics.com, you can actually see all the scheduling. Like, you can go on the website and there's an area where you can just click it. It drops down and shows you everywhere we're going to be for the next 6 months. So you guys can check that out, plan accordingly if you want to come hang out. And if you ordered the listener issue 4, which, like I said, ended today, mad fun. We're actually going to probably have those out earlier than we normally do. So you guys should get those in no time at all. But, it's Friday night. We've had fun. Uh, thanks for hanging out with us, even though we didn't have any fancy guests this evening. But next week we are off. Next week is a break for us. I think we're like seven weeks in a row now without a break. So we're taking one of those because I'll be out of town. But I will go live with you guys for just a little bit from the show, and I'll walk you around the show, and you can say hey to folks and stuff and people. No, man, thanks, James. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Right now, I still have like 40 orders here at the house right now because of the fact that one of my boxes got messed up. But whatever, it's all getting taken care of. The books are supposed to be here tomorrow, so they'll be out on time, which is cool. Thanks, Shawnee. But yeah, James, I do my best to always get the books out. It normally only takes me 6 weeks total, because if you look at it, it's like at most, because what happens is we get the campaign ends, the funds come out. It takes 2 weeks for the funds to come out, and then I get the funds. I send the print immediately, so then it's 2 weeks, generally speaking, for the print to come back, and including shipping, right? Because our printers are great. So then all of a sudden it's like 1 to 2 weeks for me to get it to y'all after that. So I definitely always get them out early because I've been that dude, right? I've been a Kickstarter backer and been like, where's my shit at? Why is it taking so long to get here? I don't ever want people to feel that way. I always want people to get it as early as I can possibly get it to them. But yeah, that's about where I'm at. If It Hops coming out, get ready, guys. It's gonna be a hopping good time.
Well, that'll almost be next show we're back, mate. If It
Yep.
Hops should be
Yep.
just about ready to rock and roll.
So that book will go live. We're actually going to do a launch party here on our show for that book that Friday evening. So just like we did with BGD2, we'll have a bunch of folks together for that, and we'll be bullshitting and talking about If It Hops, about what the book's about, how they feel about the book, and how everybody's feeling about those beautiful bunny butts we're seeing. Yeah, man. Like I said, I'm real easy to work with, man. You know what I mean? I'm super, super easy to work with. So if we all come to an agreement, now you just have to get past the art director because we have one. So what you guys do is we have everybody submit to the art director, which is Blade and Hunter. And if he thinks the art's good, he thinks it'll work with our teams and stuff, we run with it. As we get bigger and the more and more we do, I'm having to delegate where things go and bring on management teams and stuff because of the fact that it's literally too much for one person alone. And I joke about the whole Samuel L. Jackson scene in Jurassic Park. He might be bribable. That's not a joke. I know that he just did some art for a PS5 recently. He might be bribable. But Samuel L. Jackson was sitting in that computer room in Jurassic Park, and they come in and they're like, well, what's the problem? And he's like, he turns around real slowly with that cigar in his hand, and he's like, we have every problem of a major theme park and a major zoo all wrapped in one. We don't have the problems, but I have all the things going on that a major publishing company does, and it was just me handling it. So now I'm very grateful to have a management team that can help me with these projects and everything going on. Next is an editorial assistant. That's the next thing that I'm hiring for. So if anybody's looking for a job like that, let me know. It is a full-time job. We did just hire a really cool guy that's doing background art for Bladen, so he can do more stuff and not have to stop all the time to work on the smaller things. So I'm really, really stoked about it. But yeah, I'm doing this adulting thing like a pro. So damn it. So yeah, I'm doing all right with the adulting thing. But anyway, guys, it is Good Friday, so I hope if you are celebrating, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a good time. I hope you guys spend time with the family, barbecue, whatever, eat some good food. Have a great time on Sunday if you've got kids and you're celebrating, you're doing the Easter stuff. By all means, chase those eggs, hunt them down, hide them real well from the kids and all that jazz. Because I'll be doing it. I'll be hiding eggs all Sunday morning. So if you guys don't hear from me Sunday, it's probably because one of the kids wasn't happy with something they got and they murdered me and hid my body in the backyard somewhere. But anyway,
Mate, I'd just like to say thanks for everyone that's tuning in and comes down with us when we do these shows, and double thumbs up to you. It's been a pleasure to meet a lot of you for the first time over the last 7-8 weeks, and we're both looking forward to, even though we're not really having a week off, but so in a fortnight we'll be back and ready to rock and roll again after we've recharged, got some artwork done, met some more people, and laying down tracks.
Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. We really appreciate it. We hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you shortly. Bye now.
See ya.